Hello, welcome back to Silver Thread Sewing. I'm Diane. This is a little tutorial which I'm not set up for and I am not good at. So this is what not to do when you sew. Actually, I had a question or a request from my friend Zelda at Zelda Sews. I had mentioned in last week's Friday Sews about having a rivet press. And Miss Zelda had asked if I would kind of do a demonstration on how to use it. Now, I'm not saying this is the correct way to use it or anything like that, but I was going to show you my rivet press. And instead of just like punching a hole in a scrap or something and showing you how to do that, I thought I would make a little wrist key fob thing. So I've mentioned my non-garment sewing in a video last year, and these little key wristlet, keychain, whatever you call them, are mentioned in that because I had made tote bags and wallets, the necessary clutch wallets by Emmeline Bags, and I also made some of the little wristlet things that would attach to the wallets. Or you could just use these as a little thing to hold your keys, and that way you can just put it around your wrist and you don't have to worry about dropping your keys. So I thought instead of just demonstrating on a scrap, I would just make a little wristlet thing for your keys and show you how I put those together and how I use the rivet press. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of this fabric. This is a piece of linen that I had left over from a dress, and I'm going to cut that the width of this ruler, which is 3 inches. So 3 inches. I think the tutorial or the pattern that I followed said 12 inches, but I usually cut mine about 13 just to give me a little more room to get it over my hand. But you can definitely adjust the size as you want to if you need it a little bit bigger. And another thing you can do, you can even make it a lanyard to wear around your neck, and then you would just carry your ID badge or whatever you wanted, and you could customize your fabric. Now, a home deck fabric or an upholstery fabric works pretty good for this. It's a heavier weight, but where I'm using linen, and I've used a lot of quilting cotton, I just interface it. And as I also talked about in one of my early videos, I don't ever throw my scrap interfacing away. I keep it and use it to do projects like this. I just iron it on, and this is folded in on itself so many times that it doesn't really matter that it's scrap interfacing, because once you iron it on, it's all fusible and it makes it pretty sturdy, and I've not had any problems with it. So I never throw scraps of interfacing away. I just kind of recycle them till they're gone. So like I said, probably wouldn't do that in a garment that you're going to wear or a nice fabric or something, but for little crafty projects like this, I don't have a bit of problem doing that, and I don't feel bad for throwing scraps away. So I will turn you down as best I can. Like I said, I'm not set up for this, and I'm not good at it, and I know it, but I did want to show how my rivet press works, especially for Zelda. So I'll do my best to show you. So I'm going to make sure I have a square end, a straight side to start with. So I'll cut off that edge. And I'm not real worried that this is not the right size in the length, because I'll straighten all that out later. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this to the width I need, which is 3 inches. And then I'll measure off. Hopefully you're getting a little bit of that. I'm going to, so my 12 inches would be right there. And I'm just going to press out this piece as best I can to get the wrinkles out and make everything nice and straight. And these are woven interfacing scraps that I have left over from different projects. And this one's going to take up a nice chunk. And I'll get my scissors. And I didn't get that quite wide enough, but you'll get the idea. And if you have any areas that you want to go over, you can take little scraps and do that. And I've got a cover over my ironing board so that I don't get fusible stuff all over my good ironing board cover. And where this is not real heavy, I don't mind going over it with 2 layers of interfacing. I find the thicker, the crisper that this fabric is when I make the key fob, the better I like it. Because you don't actually have to turn anything with the method I use. Come back over here to the table, turn this right side up, and trim off our excess scrap interfacing, even with the fabric. I'm not used to trying to get this so you can see it, so I'm probably missing half this. That looks a little wonky, but I think I can straighten it just fine. All right, and now we will take this back to the iron and I'll show you how to press it. Nobody ever told me when I decided I wanted to learn to sew that I would be spending more time at the iron than I would the sewing machine. So what you do with this is just like most any other thing that you want to make, like bias binding, you just fold it in half and press that nice and flat with some steam. That tends to work well. And then I fold each raw edge into the center and give that a nice little press with steam. And then this side would come in just to meet that one, just like bias binding. And it's fairly forgiving. I mean, it's not, you know, not the end of the world if you don't get it perfectly straight, but it does make your finished product look more professional. And then I just fold that in half again. And that way you have your finished edges together. A lot of steam. And then this is what we're left with. This is just a plain little key ring. I ordered these, I think, from, I don't even remember, probably Amazon. But I think you can buy them at most, like Joann and Hobby Lobby and anywhere you can buy crafting supplies probably. So you're just going to put this little key thing with nothing sewn over the little ring. Then you bring right sides together and open out everything that we just worked so hard to fold. And I'll show you that up close. Just like that, raw edges together. And I'm just going to sew that. And I'm not real careful about how I gauge my distance. I just usually put the edge of my presser foot with the raw edges of the fabric and try to make sure that I do have everything nice and even. Try that now. And I backstitch at the beginning. back stitch at the end. Trim your threads as you go. It makes life a whole lot easier. And then we just fold. We open up that seam we just sewn to reduce bulk. You can trim that as well. I probably won't on this one, but you definitely can trim the bulk. And then just fold it right back together just like you had it before. And try to get your seam allowance to match up as best you can. And get everything nice and straight.
This one is kind of even, but I'm going to back stitch.
And move my clips as I come to them. And just keep going right on around and make sure you keep that ring out of the way. I don't think I aligned mine up very well, but we will see how it looks. So basically, we have our seam right here. Is where I put the two fabrics together, the two ends, and I usually fold that so it's near the key part, and then this part is always just fabric, just the fabric and interfacing. So the next part is the rivet press, and that will finish this little key fob. Okay, so this is not my best work, I must say, but it's okay to show, and I will definitely still use this. I didn't even change my thread, and I didn't stitch very neatly, but this part right here is the part we're going to work on with the rivet press. Let me get the rivet press. All right, I ordered this from, I believe, KAM snaps, and it's a pretty hefty little tool. I'm not sure if there's heavier ones. I'm sure there probably is, but this is one that we bought when I was making wallets and needed to install rivets. Now, if you don't know what a rivet is, you can look on a pair of jeans a lot of times and they will have rivets, but they are, and I'm sure that right there is one part of a rivet. Let me grab a magnetic pin dish here. This is a good idea, I think. So that is a rivet, and they're called double cap rivets. So these finish on both ends. They will look finished on both sides. Now I have different sizes. I have 8mm, 6mm, and 10. I don't have any 10mm, actually, I'm out. But I think I am going to use on this fabric a 8mm. And I'm going to use this, kind of this brass antique finish one. Now, the only hole punch die that I have for my rivet press is a 2.5mm punch die. And I will put it on here so you can see this. This part is the base. So this will sit in the rivet press, and this is the part that is flat, so you put your rivet against that. And then this is the hole punch. So this is the part that goes down in the bottom of the rivet press, right down here. And it's flat and it just drops in. Now this is the punch die. And I would love to have all the sizes for all this stuff, but it's kind of expensive, and this served me well enough. So this part screws in the top. There's a little hole, and you just have to screw that top part in so it's secure. Now, I usually use a piece of some kind of stiff, either cardboard, or this is just a piece of real stiff Peltex interfacing. And I put that down on the bottom and get my, whatever I'm putting a rivet in, or I want to put a hole in for a rivet. And I just put that right where I want it, and you can draw a pin mark so you can see exactly where your hole's going to be. But I'm just going to, since this is just for demonstration, but it doesn't really take a lot of pressure. That thing is really strong, and it will create a hole. But you do need to be careful, and you do need to mark precisely where you want that to be, because it's easy to get it in the wrong place. And you put the long one side of your rivet, the one with the pin on it, the longer part, and then you take a rivet cap, and I know you can't see that from my fingers, but it will snap on, but it's still very loose. But that's how it will look, and that matches my key ring. So then you take this hole punch out, and you take the hole punch, the base out, and I have, like I said, I have the 6 and the 10 and the 8mm rivet dies, and they look like this. And this one without the threads will just go right into the base of the rivet press, and this one screws in the top, so you have a nice little dome shape on each of those that your rivets will just lay right in. And then you put them on top, and it doesn't take a lot of force. You can kind of feel when they go together, and you have your rivets, and they're finished on both sides. So I do love my rivet press, but like I said last week, it is kind of heavy. Now, I do say that I cut my piece for my key wristlet at 13 inches, but I actually only cut it at 12. I normally do cut it at 13, but in the excitement of filming the little tutorial part, I cut it at 12. So ignore what I say. This is a channel about what not to do when you sew. So don't do as I say, do as you think best. And but if you like the rivet press, I will try to link to mine below. I ordered it probably 4 years ago, maybe 5. It was at a time when I was making a lot of necessary clutch wallets and tote bags, and I would also make the little key wristlet thing for the keys, or to clip onto the to the side of the wallets. So there is a video about all my non-garment sewing if you're interested in that. And I hope that you can get a little something out of this. I know it's kind of all over the place, so just take it for what it's worth. And but I will try to link to the rivet press below. And I hope everybody has a great week, and I hope to see you again on Friday. Bye.